My name is Dr. Shatina M. Jones, and I currently serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Experience, and I will serve as the moderator for our time together today. Thank you so much for joining us for our community conversation. Today, we are gathered to have a conversation about the interrelations of India and Canada. This is a chance for our University of Windsor community to unite, share, and learn together. Our land acknowledgement. The University of Windsor respectfully acknowledges that the land that we are on today is the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy First Nations, which consist of the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi. I acknowledge the painful history of the removal of Indigenous peoples from this territory. I honor the diverse Indigenous peoples who have and continue to nurture relationships to this land on which we gather. As mentioned earlier, today we will have a conversation about India and Canada. We have received several questions and will center our conversation on our community. It's equally important to acknowledge that there are several international events that have impacted our community. There will be future opportunities to discuss more, but today we are gathered to discuss the current situation between India and Canada. During our conversation together, it's important that we share the following ways of being. Respect our moderator and panelists who have given us their time today. Respect the viewpoints of others, even if it's different than our own. Give everyone space to have an emotion about the words that we are sharing today. Recognize that if we cannot be in community with each other in a respectful manner, we will shorten our conversation today. It is my hope that as a community, we honor each other and the voices before you today. So let's get into it and start with our panelists. Today we have three esteemed guest panelists. Our first panelist is our very own president, President Rob Gordon. He has served as our president for several years at this point and currently leading our Aspire strategic plan. Let us all welcome President Gordon. Our second panelist is Vice President, Research and Innovation, Dr. Shanthi Johnson, a public health leading scholar. She joined the University of Windsor family this year. Let us all welcome Dr. Johnson. And our final panelist truly doesn't need an introduction, but we will for today, is our Vice President, People, Equity, and Inclusion, Dr. Clinton Beckford, a leading scholar in education. He has been with the university for over 20 years. Let us welcome Dr. Beckford. So again, thank you to everyone that submitted questions in advance. We received great questions, which have been infused into our conversation today. It's important to note that we will not mention every single question because some of them were duplicates because we all had similar thoughts. Our format for our conversation today will be a moderated conversation. The panelists will each be asked a specific question. There are three phenomenal panelists and we only have an hour. So there may be a need for us to have a further conversation, which could be at a later time and a different format. So again, with that being said, let's get into it. To begin our conversation, we will answer a few pre-submitted questions. So the first question, should registered students from India check in with the India embassy in Canada as soon as they arrive? Absolutely. When you're traveling globally, always make sure that you check in with your embassy so your embassy knows that you are out of your home country. The second question, if students can't arrive on time, can they arrive later? Absolutely, you can arrive later. Just let us know that you plan to arrive later. Now, a couple questions for our panelists. This is on the topic of safety and security. So students may worry about their safety and security due to potential protests, backlash, or even discrimination related to the diplomatic crisis. This question is for Dr. Johnson. Is Windsor, Ontario a safe environment for students?
That's such an important question. You know, I arrived from India as an international student many moons ago to pursue my higher education, and I have lived in 4 different provinces in Canada. And with that breadth of experience being here, I can affirm that Canada is a safe environment to live, to study, and to work, and to honestly even raise families. And it is a country of pride. And University of Windsor is, at the University of Windsor, we take great pride in fostering an inclusive, diverse, and secure atmosphere for all, regardless of the background or nationality. I'm relatively new here, and my experience has been very positive in the broader community. I'm going to turn it to our longstanding colleague, Dr. Ram Balachandra, who's been at the university and the community for about 21 years.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. To begin with, I too have lived in 4 different provinces in Canada, and finally arrived here in Windsor, and I've been here for about a little over 20 years now. I should say that I have taken so many different roles within the university, and one thing I can confidently say to parents who are planning to send their children here, or who already have their children studying here, that Windsor is one of the most safest places. I have personally never encountered any situation, and besides that, in the last few weeks, I have had quite a few students come to my own office and ask me, because they know my background, they come and ask me. And I always tell them, look, it is important for you to stay safe, and staying safe means that, yeah, at times you have to look over your head. Yeah, you do have to look over your head, but this place is as safe as it can get. There is no issue here. The politics of the situation has nothing to do with the university or the people living in Canada, right? There is no interest for us to get involved in something that is so far away. We feel that we are Canadians, having lived here for so long, but there is also the Indian blood in you. But that doesn't mean you want to get involved in politics, because all of us who are here for a long time know the politics, the winds of politics keep changing. So why bother about it? The purpose that we are here is to educate people, and the purpose why the students are here is to get educated. So if you keep this in mind, I tell my students all the time, if you keep this in mind, you have nothing to worry about. I wouldn't worry about the safety of Windsor in any fashion. Besides that, there are so many different places where you can get help within the Indian community. We have a fabulous temple, and the president of the temple is Dr. Bolisetti, who is also a faculty member in civil engineering. There are many people who actively take part in the temple. Students come to the temple in large numbers. They participate. We have Dr. Siaram Pandey, who is very active in the temple, right? And there are so many people within the Indian diaspora who are faculty members here. If your children, if you have concerns that your children have some safety concerns, the best thing to do is to interact with any of the faculty members, not necessarily from the Indian diaspora, but if you wish to, you could choose an Indian professor, Indian origin professor, and you will find that they are very helpful. You have nothing to worry about with respect to safety. Oh, yes. Just not the temple is not the only place. I picked on the temple because Dr. Bolasati is here. We have a beautiful Gurudwara in the city. We have different churches where people go to. So there are lots of help that you can get to if there is any concerns. If you want help outside the university, if you want help within the university, besides the administrative aspects, you can choose any Indian professor, email them, go visit them, talk to them, and I'm sure you will get all the help that you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ram. Such great suggestions and feedback. Thank you. Absolutely. Let's give that a clap if we would like to. Thank you. So our next question is for President Gordon. And this one is on academic continuity. So students may be concerned about the impact of their studies, including disruptions to academic schedules or research collaborations between India and Canada. So should students from India defer their admissions?
Great question, Shatina, and my response is no. I would actually highly discourage that. We really encourage our students to stay enrolled and begin their academic journeys here at the University of Windsor, and also stay in Canada, and as Ram said, and Shanti said, a safe place to grow and to spend your academic careers here. However, in the event that someone decides to defer their admissions, I think it's important to do so before the add drop date. So for the next semester, it's going to be the 24th of January in 2024. Students should, however, not defer their admissions unless they don't have a student visa. Again, I think it's really important for us to encourage our students to remain enrolled and be safe here at the University of Windsor.
Thank you. So the next question is for Dr. Beckford. And this one is centered on mental health and well-being. So the stress and uncertainty caused by this crisis could have negative effects on mental health of our international students. So here's my question for you, Dr. Beckford. How is the university supporting students during this situation?
Yeah, it's a great question, Shatina. I'd point to a couple of things. First of all, one is, we have wellness and counseling services that's outstanding here at the university. And I see...
Okay.
Sorry, is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So much better. I'll take yours.
Yeah, we do have wellness and counseling services here at the University of Windsor. And I see Dr. Mohsen Beg, who's here, who runs that unit. Also see Katie Chauvin, who is our student mental health coordinator, and they work extremely hard to provide the kinds of supports that our students would need. I'd also point to Dr. Jones's office, where there is a care navigator who is able to provide one-on-one counseling services and support for students. And then there's a plethora of other supports that are perhaps not as formal. My office, for example, will provide support for students. We'll point you in the right direction if you come to us. As Ram quite rightly said, and he said you can talk to any Indian professor on campus. I'd suggest that you can talk to any professor on campus, and they will, point you in the right place. The community services that are available, you should definitely avail yourself of those as well. And very, very importantly, peer support is absolutely critical. So you have to stick together, support each other, lean on your student organizations, the UWSA. There's a brand new Indian Student Association on campus. Right now, just met with the principals of that group a couple of weeks ago. And, these are, I think, supports that you're going to be able to lean on, as we get through this together.
Thank you so much for answering that question. So the next question, I will actually answer this question, and it's centered around visas and immigration status. So international students may be concerned about the statuses of their visas and immigration regulations, including potential changes in visa policies and restrictions. So the question is, how could this affect visa turnaround times? So as of this week, we have confirmed and have been informed that all offices are still open and serving their constituents. So there has not been any delays that have been shared with us regarding visas. So let's go back to another safety question. So this question is going to be back to Dr. Beckford. So have we come across any cases of violence and racism against our students from India after the India and Canadian conflict?
I'm happy to say no. We haven't seen or had any reports of any violence or discrimination against Indian students on our campus. We should say, however, that we've heard of a couple, negative and concerning incidents that have taken place off campus, and we continue to, work with Windsor Police, for example, and the city to ask for, vigilance around this. As an institution, we are also looking to foster closer ties and collaborations with community organizations, to help to try and keep our students safe. And we've been doing that. We're in the process of trying to develop, for example, a community of practice around EDI, because we understand that our institution is not going to be an oasis of inclusion in this society if we have those things raging around us in the community where our students live and work. So we're taking a proactive approach to that. So we haven't seen or had any reports of incidents on our campus, but we do know that from time to time our students report, negative experiences in the community. They mentioned earlier that I spoke with our Indian Student Association a couple of weeks ago, and that's one of the things we talked about. And they assured me that they feel safe and supported on our campus. And we continue to work to ensure that that is the case, while we look to see how we can strengthen an EDI infrastructure in the community that's going to contribute to their safety outside of our campus.
Thank you so much. So the next question is for President Gordon. So what measures have the university taken to increase security on campus?
So as Clinton was mentioning, we have conversations every single day with our community about safety of our students on and off campus. We certainly work closely with our campus police and really work with them to monitor campus safety plans and really develop proactive strategies for how we can continue to enhance the quality of safety within our campus community. I think, as Dr. Beckford also mentioned as well, our campus police also collaborate very closely with local law enforcement, the Windsor Police Service, and also emergency response services here in Windsor. And I think it's important for everybody to recognize that those services are available 24/7 to really address any on or off campus safety concerns that arise here for our students. But there's also a number of proactive things that our student organizations are doing, and certainly that we're working with them on. In particular, our UWSA is very proactive. We're relaunching the Walk Safe program, which is a really important opportunity if students are leaving campus at any time of the day to feel safe in terms of getting back home. We will provide supports for that. I've also asked our Director of Campus Safety and Emergency Planning, Sherry Lynn Menard, who's with us this morning, to really continue to work closely with our National Student Center, the newly formed University of Windsor Indian Students Association that Clinton spoke of, our Office of Student Experience, Shatina, that you oversee, UWSA, and GSS, to really get important feedback from all of those organizations and groups to continue to provide opportunities for us to enhance the safety, and again, put student safety in everything that we think about in terms of new initiatives as well. I'd also like to kind of highlight that we do have additional safety features that we've introduced through the Safe Lancer app, for example, and if you haven't downloaded it, please do that. It's an app that really helps to support a lot of safety measures. We used it throughout the pandemic, but certainly we're still using it now to have features around virtual walk home and the mobile blue light initiative as well. And as I've said too, the UWSA is supporting the implementation of the Haven app, which can assist with additional safety supports. For us though, it never stops. We think about safety every single day and really want to continue to provide frameworks where we're effectively communicating those safety measures to our students as part of their experience here. It's something, Shatina, that is my number one priority. We take very seriously, and we'll continue to really implement proactive measures to really support the safety of our students when they're here on campus, but also when they're off campus as well.
Thank you so much, President Gordon. So this question is for Dr. Johnson, and then we're going back to academic continuity. Do we think this conflict will impact our Indian students specifically studying in Canada?
You know, these global conflicts might have sort of minimal or minor impact, usually does in a geopolitical context. But I can assure you that the University of Windsor has a stable and enriching research and learning environment. And you heard that we have amazing faculty, amazing research teams, and that are supporting our students. And the University of Windsor is also committed to very closely monitoring the Canada-India relations in that so we can be proactive, not reactive to relationships or implications from tensions. I will say that the relationship between Canada and India goes far deeper than the incident that we are seeing now. We are shared values of plurality, democracy, of people relationship are long lasting, and I think we'll tide this wave in a stronger way, and we'll be able to continue to welcome students from all over the world, including India.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. So this question will go back to Dr. Beckford. Dr. Beckford, how can fellow students best support their fellow students from India on a personal basis?
Yeah, really, really important question. And, you know, I mentioned earlier the importance of students, really just sticking together. And I'm not talking just about Indian students. All of our students have to be part of this. I think your UWSA is going to be really, really important in this. I think your new Indian Student Association is going to be absolutely pivotal. It's a new organization, but we're committed to working really, really closely with them to help support students on our campus. I'd also like to mention, we have an International Student Center, and I see Mike here, And this is somewhere that you can lean on as well for support. They can connect you, to other students and students who might have a little bit more experience than our newer students. But I can't overemphasize the importance of peer support and students supporting students. And that can be formally and informally. I go downstairs all the time in the Commons, and I see students sitting together, talking together, breaking bread together. All of these things are absolutely critical, and I implore you to continue to do that. And do not hesitate to reach out to us if we can help in any way. I know students are really active. In a few weeks, I think we're having a Diwali celebration that I know the campus is looking forward to. The president is looking forward to it. He's going to dance again this year. So, we're making efforts to ensure that not just that the campus is safe, but that you actually feel safe. And student support is absolutely critical to getting that done.
I just wanted to echo what Dr. Beckford said as well, too. And certainly one of the things I want everybody to really clearly recognize, we had convocation last Thursday and Friday, and a number of our international students had the chance to walk across the stage to step into this next stage in their career. And I saw so many happy faces. I saw so much inspiration from our graduates. And I really want to make sure everybody is aware that the foundation for all of you presently, but also in the future, is the University of Windsor. We're part of your family. So although you're getting a degree from the university, and we look forward to seeing you all successful, whether it's here in Canada or somewhere else around the world, you will always have a family here at the university. And that's an obligation that we all take very seriously. And certainly we want you to all be successful, but we also want you to all remember the time that you spent here in Windsor as being one that's really allowed you to grow, and that you also had the support of the entire campus, not just senior administration, but faculty, staff, and students from across the university to help you in your journey. And this is something that certainly is one of our core values as an institution. As Shatina mentioned earlier, we're embarking on a new strategic plan for the institution that is about being people-centric, and certainly our commitment to each and every one of you, if you're already a student here or if you're contemplating coming here, is that the experience that you get here will be second to none, and certainly you will have a family for life.
Thank you, President Gordon. And as we get ready to close, I have one question that was a different question that was asked of us, and it's pertaining specifically to our students from India. And the question is, what are the current students from India planning to do? How are they handling the situation? Are there specific resources or supports that other students can access to learn more about how the conflict directly impacts students from India? So I'm going to answer the first two parts of that question, which are our students are being in community and with one another. The day after the safety alert was issued, I had an opportunity to meet with some fantastic students from India who just so happened to be in the room. We won't name them, but they just so happened to be in the room. And one of the things that they shared with me was that they feel that this is a safe space. And with this being a safe space, they continue to connect to one another because they may be from different particular communities in India, but one thing is important. They are always in community with one another. They're always connecting to one another. So similar to what Dr. Beckford said about this piece of what are you doing on a personal basis, they're all lifting each other up during this time. They are having conversations with their families to tell them, similar to, again, some of the things that have been shared, I feel safe in Windsor. They're talking to people who may not may not know what Windsor, Ontario is like because they've never been here. Another way is that they are finding ways, again, to engage with each other, whether that is planning initiatives to build community, to find other people as well within the community, but they are definitely focused on being in community with each other. In terms of how they're handling the situation, is they are continuing to be UWindsor students. They're continuing to focus on their academics. I have not heard of a complaint. The questions that I do receive have nothing to do with India and Canada, but more specifically, is there other supports and other supports for the initiatives that they're doing? So those are some of the things that we have heard and continue to hear from our students from India. In terms of other resources and supports to help you learn more about what is happening, I will always tell you to connect to your embassy. Use your embassy as a resource. Your embassy will provide you additional information, as well as coming to my office to ask any questions that you may need. More likely than not, I always have an answer. I always have an answer. I always have a colleague who has the answer. We pride ourselves on being able to be helpful and not hindrance to you, and to answer as many questions to enhance your experience here at the University of Windsor. So, there's never enough time for conversations that we're having today, great conversations that we're having today. I would like to first thank all of our panelists who have taken the time to be here with us today. Your time and your presence is greatly appreciated. We appreciate you and others who have also had the opportunity to connect and provide their respective thoughts. Special thank you to those who are listening at home and here in Windsor. This will conclude today's community conversation. I believe our refreshments are here. Okay. Thank you, Shay. Our refreshments are here and ready for us. Please help yourself to refreshments. And as always, have an amazing Windsor day. Thank you so much.